Hey guys, welcome to your Fridays in your Max Seller week where we talk real. We're having problems with the connection. I hope that you can hear me well today. We're gonna still be here. We're helping physicians to regain and retain control of their lives. I'm Dr. Myrdalis Diaz Ramirez. I'm the creator of the Max Seller Mastermind. It's a physician entrepreneur mastermind where we teach physicians precisely how to do this and they achieve change of their lives, personal lives, and their businesses. I have to tell you that in the last couple of months, I've had the opportunity to talk to dozens of physicians in person throughout the country, and also many more. I have communicated with them online, and most of us really are feeling overwhelmed with the daily work that we're having, the prior authorizations, the charting, all the obstacles that are happening on a daily basis with between us and the patients, what we want to do for them, they're just increasing every single day. And what that's leading to is physicians basically being overwhelmed, lost, not in control of their lives, not in control of what they want to do. And I know that, I've been there myself. I've been there more than once. And it was very fortunate to find not only a creative outlet for me, but also a way of helping myself and others through entrepreneurship. And I've been sharing this tool with many physicians who in a very short periods of time, they have made great transformations for their lives. We have seen the physicians change not only their finances, they have also started like investing in other things like in real estate, things that they would have never thought about. They have decided to, this is what I want for myself, for my life. They have started to acquire momentum for their businesses or create a successful business. Maybe even them coming from so many areas and achieving change in even less than 6 months has been really amazing, and we're giving them a turnkey solution for that. So if you feel like you want that type of change, please sign up for one of webinars. We actually have this month, we have a couple of webinars left over before we start our next cohort in our mastermind. Visit our mastermind page is called maxallure.com, maxallure.com, and then you can receive more information. Remember to do hashtag replay and hashtag live for this video. And I want to tell you about the week. This last Monday we introduced the topic of the week, and I'm very excited because I have a wonderful friend who was able to talk to us about this, and the topic was being successful in the private sector. And on Tuesday we had Dr. Nilesh Patel. He's an interventional pain management, and he's actually the Vice President of Medical Affairs for Boston Scientific for spinal cord stimulation, and he's wonderful. I've met Dr. Patel for many years now. I'm here in Sarasota. This is where he had his practice a lot of the time, some time ago, and I've been able to talk to Nilesh through the years about physicians, our evolution involved in research in different businesses. And the conversation that we had in our podcast was really, really profound in terms of what we need to do as physicians to really achieve change for our profession if we really want to survive. So we know that if we want to survive, we cannot wait for others to make change. We have to make change ourselves. And one of the things that we have to learn is like the language, learn entrepreneurship is really what's giving so many physicians this happiness that they're having. And we have to create those efficiencies that they have in the private sector for ourselves. So if you really haven't heard that podcast, I recommend that you go is Design Your Physician Life and look for our latest episode with Dr. Nilesh Patel. On Wednesday, I have to tell you that we're now in recruiting season for our mastermind. We're very excited because we have opened our card. So on Wednesday, we open an invitation for you to join in on one of our webinars. We're starting this new cohort at the end of the month. So if you really want to achieve change right away, once again, visit our website, maxallure.com, maxallure. On Thursday, I cannot tell you how honored and humbled I am. Being a physician has given me opportunities I would have never thought in a million years. And one of them is to have a communication with this wonderful doctor who's also a coach in our mastermind. She's been a guest coach. Her name is Dr. Hala Sabri. And if you don't know Dr. Hala Sabri, she's the creator of a very famous group in Facebook called Physicians Moms Group. And that group, we have thousands of women. She came up with this idea, and there we discuss from fashion to marriage to kids to our business cases with our patients. and she's really being a true inspiration to all of us. She's really all about getting things done. You don't have to wait to really take care of yourself. She's an emergency room doctor, and she has 5 children here herself, and right now she's even in a conference that she made for physicians like herself. And she came to us and she brought to us a topic that when you're burnt out, when you're so tired, you might not think about really what's happening around you. And she has talked to us in the past about what is burnout versus what a mid-career crisis is versus what a midlife crisis is. And as physicians, I have to tell you, like, we study for how long? When we're in our 30s is when we first start, if you haven't really stopped to do some other things in your life, most of us will go like directly through studying, and then in our 30s is when we are like confronting these issues, going to practice, and then that's when people start with mid-career life crisis, and then we're still coming out fresh from school. So she has helped us a lot. We have wanted to really showcase her work and showcase her function with us, and we're very honored to have you, Dr. Hala Sabri, in our mastermind as a coach. So thank you for being there with us. Today, I really want to give you some tips about the private sector. And when we talk about the private sector, we have to understand that this is not having your private practice. By the way, I'm transmitting once again. These are Practice Saha Vida in Sarasota, Florida. This is a private practice, but it's not the private sector. The private sector is actually when you have, and having a private clinic has its own set of challenges. But when we talk about the private sector, we're talking about private companies where you're preparing yourself to deal with others, with their businesses, with private equity, maybe working as an executive while being a physician. And they're calling you because of your skills as a physician, because one of the things that we have as physicians is all this capability of learning all this information in a very short period of time and being able to analyze and get something done about it. And that's why they hire you. So if you want to work for the private sector, like Dr. Nilesh Patel has done, we have gone through some tips. He also gives a lot of them in our podcast. So once again, if you haven't read about it or listened to the podcast, just go and visit it. So let's go for the first one. One of the first things that you have to do is really do your homework and be specific. So you have to be specific about that company that we're going to check the culture, see what people have to say about it. It's not your business, okay? So you have to learn what motivates them, what they're working for, what their internal position is before you go and interview with them. And listen to what others are saying about the company, not only culturally, but also financially, where their history has been, is very important. Because tip number 2, once again, we have to recognize that it's not about us. Yes, we want to work together. There are going to be some synchrony, between our work and what they want. But when we're working for the private sector, it's really not about you. It's about their wishes. So you have to learn what their mission and vision is. Even before you're starting to talk to anybody, look at those things first and how they have been executing those. What is important to them, where they're working to put their priorities. Remember, it's not about you. The other thing is that you have to learn, and this, talking to Nilesh, Dr. Patel, we've talked through the years about this language, the language that they don't teach us in medical school. They don't teach us the business language. We know a lot of funky, fancy words, which I love. Sternocleidomastoid. What a word, right? Just for like this little muscle here. I love the words that we learn, but we don't learn the business words. And medical school doesn't prepare us, so we have to read. Not only read about their language, the business language, but also read about the business language. That company will have different things. And one of the things, like when working for the private sector, I remember my husband was going to work for the private sector, and we went ahead and we went to the library and we started studying all these terms that we had no clue about for when he went to get that first job. So yes, I went with him whenever we're doing these things. And that's one of the things that we have in our Maxillary Mastermind, is that we do things for our couples. So if you have a partner, we want you to work with them. So we read about those things so that he could be better prepared to speak when you go to that interview to talk to those people. You already know you are ahead of the game, and you are going to be one of the top candidates if you know exactly what they're talking about. You have to look at their associations, look where they go to meet, and also read their annual reports, which they will be publishing. They're required to publish them. Another tip that I have for you is flexibility. One of the things when you go to work with them, not everything's going to be necessarily about money. So there might be some things that you want to negotiate, especially if you want to bring to them some contributions that would mutually improve things like people, their assets, their brands, and things that can be helpful to you. For example, you might find that they really want to work on X cost, and then if you put from some of your time, you can negotiate some things that are really not money, but they're going to be more meaningful actually to both parties. So be flexible when you go to negotiate. Then another thing is efficiencies. One of the things that we, as physicians, we know what we have learned to bring to our patients. But that doesn't mean that we can implement that same way of bringing care to the way that the communication happens in the private equity. We have to learn the processes they have and to keep a great product quality, great service quality, but also keep employee and customer satisfaction in the way that they do it. And as physicians, if we learn all these things, we can actually turn ourselves into the private equity. And the private equity is really about efficiencies, because at the end of the day, there's going to be sales of those businesses many times. There are going to be acquisitions, and we have to know the finances of that, how it happens, how it makes that you're attractive for other companies to purchase you. But as physicians, I truly believe that we should be the ones purchasing anything related, to medical care in this way. We have let a lot of this go, and if we learn these things, I was talking to Dr. Patel about it, like we can be so much stronger. So go ahead and learn that. A question that I have found out people ask is that if it's an MBA needed. It depends. There's different types of MBAs, like there's different types of residencies, there's different types of fellowships. You're going to have different types of MBAs. So you have to be understanding when you're going to go and pay for this extra money for some training. You have to understand what you're training for. And then when you're applying for these positions, or when they approach you for these positions, you're going to see some requirements. Maybe you don't have them, but I have seen plenty of people who don't have MBAs and they're CEOs and they didn't even create those companies. But you have to do that balance. That's going to be a lot of knowledge. You're going to learn a lot through that extra education, which you will have to do anyways. What an MBA does many times is that once you've studied and once you have the relationships, it will help you with this language, and it will help you to get information. I don't have an MBA myself. I'm the president of our own company here, but it's a different situation. When you're going to there, remember, it's not your business, it's what they want and their expectations. If you see that board of directors has MBAs all across, probably you're going to want to have an MBA. Doesn't mean that you won't have the position, especially if you've done your homework. So another question that we've seen is, how do I get that job? Well, like everything, I think I have told you many times here, if you haven't learned it yet, you have to surround yourself with the people that you want to emulate. You have to surround yourself with like-minded people. So if you go to the same conferences, if you go and you're in the same circles, it's like, how do they do it? How do these people do it? If you're there and you show them through friendship, through connections, who you are, what you're capable of contributing, many of those positions will be offered to you, okay? And yes, when they offer it to you, you have to do your due diligence and see who else has been offered the position as well. Making sure that it's a good thing for both parties. So you have to connect. You have to be in the position yourself in the center of the action. Those have been my tips today for dealing with the private equity. I'm so happy to see that you guys are all here. Thanks, Elaine, for being here. Thomas. Let's see, who else is here? Just want to say hello because I saw you guys. Jack. Let's see, Josephine. Thank you all for being here. Please hashtag live, hashtag replay. Go to our webinars. We have a couple of them coming up. Sign up. It's going to be on maxallure.com, MAXALLURE. You have a wonderful weekend. Look how pretty this is. I know I'm going to have one, and I wish the same for you. See you then later. Bye.